I am Leo and I am 11 years old and my city is Detroit. Every morning the first thing I do is look out my bedroom window, and every morning it's mostly the same. My street is a lot of gray sidewalks, gray asphalt, gray buildings that sometimes look tired, like they're waiting for something to happen. My mom works really hard. She's usually gone before I even wake up, cleaning offices downtown, and she comes home when it's already dark. I know she does it for me so we can have enough, but it means I spend a lot of time by myself after school thinking. I walk to the corner store for milk and bread sometimes, and I pass the same empty lot every single day. It's just this big, flat slab of cracked concrete, right in the middle of our block, surrounded by a chain-link fence that's falling apart. Nothing grows there, not even a weed, just dust and a few pieces of old trash that get blown around when the wind picks up. Most kids just run past it, pretending it's not there, but I always stop for a second. I imagine what it could be, a green place, a place where a tree could grow tall and strong, a place where the air smells like leaves instead of exhaust fumes. I think about my grandmother, who used to tell me stories about planting a garden in her village a long time ago, how she loved the feel of the soil between her fingers, and how a seed held so much promise. But here in the city, it feels like everything is made of concrete and rules, and my internal nemesis, that voice in my head, always whispers that dreams are for other places, for other kids, not for a lonely boy like me in a forgotten corner of Detroit. It tells me that this lot is just going to stay gray forever, and that I'm just one kid. What can I possibly do? That thought, that heavy feeling of impossibility, it weighs on me almost every day, making my shoulders slump a little. One hot afternoon, the air thick and still, I was walking home from school, dragging my backpack, and I stopped at the concrete lot again. This time, I didn't just imagine. I saw a tiny crack in the pavement, barely visible, and a little patch of dust collected inside it. And an idea, small at first, started to sprout in my mind like a stubborn dandelion pushing through the sidewalk. What if I could plant something there? Not a whole garden, not a park, but just one tree. Just one small tree to break up all the gray. I knew it sounded crazy. How would I even get a tree? And how would I get through that thick concrete? But the idea took root stubbornly, and I started saving every single penny my mom gave me for snacks or bus fare. It took weeks. Sometimes I had to walk home in the rain or skip a bag of chips I really wanted. But I saved up enough to buy the smallest, saddest-looking sapling from the discount section of a nursery way across town. It had spindly branches and seemed almost ready to give up, but in my eyes it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I also found an old, rusty shovel in our shed, a hand-me-down from my grandpa, and I sharpened its edge the best I could with a rock. My plan was simple. I'd find a spot in the lot, break through the concrete, and give my little tree a home. I thought if I just tried hard enough, it would work. I snuck out to the lot after school, dragging the sapling in a plastic bucket and carrying the heavy shovel. I picked a spot, right in the middle, imagining how its shade would feel one day. I raised the shovel high and brought it down with all my might onto the concrete. The sound was a dull thud. Nothing. I tried again and again, my arms aching, my hands quickly forming blisters. The concrete was thicker, harder, more stubborn than I could have ever imagined. It laughed at my small shovel and my even smaller strength. Day after day I went back, chipping away, my progress measured in tiny, almost invisible scrapes on the surface. People would walk by, some would glance, some would shake their heads, but no one ever stopped. I felt like a tiny insect trying to eat a mountain. My blisters broke and bled, my shoulders burned, and the sun beat down on me mercilessly. The little sapling, still in its bucket, started to droop, its leaves turning a faint yellow as if it too was losing hope. I felt that despair deep in my bones. I was so tired, so utterly exhausted. Then came the breaking point. I had managed to create a small, shallow dent, maybe an inch deep, but that was it. I swung the shovel one last time with every ounce of strength I had left, and the old, rusty metal blade snapped clean off the handle, flying into the fence with a clang. I stood there, panting, staring at the broken shovel, then at the invincible concrete, and then at my wilting tree. My eyes welled up with hot tears, not just from the pain in my hands, but from the crushing weight of disappointment. I fell to my knees, feeling utterly defeated, the voice of my internal nemesis screaming in my head that I was foolish, that this was never going to work, that I should just give up. I hugged my knees, my face buried in my arms, and cried, really cried, feeling smaller than I ever had before, wishing I had never even dreamed of a tree. I sat there for a long time, the sun starting to dip low, painting the sky in colors that seemed too beautiful for how I was feeling. My shoulders shook with quiet sobs. Then a shadow fell over me. I slowly looked up, my eyes blurry, and saw an old woman standing there. Her face was kind, etched with a lifetime of stories, and she wore a faded blue scarf on her head. I'd seen her before, walking her small dog down the street, but we'd never spoken. She wasn't smiling, but she wasn't angry either. She just looked at me and then at my broken shovel and then at the drooping sapling. "Son," she said, her voice soft but strong, "that looks like hard work." I just nodded, unable to speak, too ashamed to look her in the eye. She reached into a canvas bag she was carrying and pulled out not a word of pity but a heavy-looking pickaxe, much bigger than anything I'd ever seen. It looked serious. "My husband used to clear out our garden with this," she explained, her gaze steady. "He was strong, but I bet even he would have struggled with this concrete alone." She walked over to the spot I had been trying to dig, carefully setting her bag down. Without another word, she raised the pickaxe, not too high but with a practiced movement, and brought it down onto the concrete. Crack! The sound was sharp, almost like thunder, and a piece of concrete, a real piece, broke off and flew aside. My jaw dropped. She did it again and again, each time a new crack spreading, a new piece coming loose. She didn't look tired, she looked determined. It was the most incredible thing I had ever seen. I scrambled to my feet, my tears forgotten, watching her work. After a few minutes, she straightened up, wiping her brow. "Now, little one, do you have a bucket for these pieces?" she asked, a small smile finally touching her lips. I nodded vigorously, grabbing the plastic bucket my sapling had been in. Together, we started clearing away the broken concrete. It wasn't long before a small, ragged hole began to appear. And then something else started to happen. A man walking by, carrying groceries, stopped to watch. Then he put his bags down and asked, "Need a hand with that, ma'am?" Soon, another neighbor, then another, attracted by the sounds and the sight of us working together, started to gather. Someone brought over another shovel, a strong one, and another person found a crowbar. Before I knew it, my small, impossible task had become a community effort. The sun set, and still people kept working, taking turns with the pickaxe and shovels, chipping away at the concrete. Flashlights came out, and someone even brought a cooler with water bottles. It wasn't just about my tree anymore. It was about tearing up all that gray, making room for something new. Over the next few weeks, that empty lot was transformed. More people joined in, some bringing tools, some bringing food, some just offering encouragement. We broke up every last piece of concrete, loaded it into rented dumpsters. And then, the most amazing thing, the city actually sent a truck full of rich, dark soil. The whole neighborhood, young and old, came out to spread it, to plant grass seed, and yes, to plant many, many more trees. My little sapling, the one I had thought was doomed, was finally placed in the ground with loving care, right in the middle of what was becoming a beautiful new park. It was the centerpiece, a symbol of what one small boy's dream and a whole lot of unexpected kindness could create. The new normal for our street is amazing. The park is full of laughter now, children playing on shiny new swings, teenagers practicing basketball on a small court, and older neighbors sitting on benches, chatting under the shade of growing trees. My tree, the first one, is already taller than me, its leaves a vibrant green. I still go to the park almost every day, but now I'm not just looking, I'm helping. I'm part of the Green Dreams Club I started, teaching younger kids how to care for the plants, how to pick up litter, and how to keep our park beautiful. I tell them the story of how it all started with just one small boy and one tiny tree, and how it took a community, sparked by one kind stranger, to make it real. I have learned that even the biggest, most impossible-looking problems can be broken down, one small crack at a time, especially when you have someone who believes in your small crack. And that old woman, the one who brought the pickaxe, she's often in the park too, sitting on a bench right under my tree, reading a book. Sometimes she catches my eye and gives me a slow, knowing smile. And I smile back, knowing that because of her, because of that one unexpected act of kindness, my dream not only came true, but it grew into something so much bigger, a living, breathing green heart for our whole community, proving that even in the grayest places, things truly can and do get better.